Hello and welcome to Test Quality. Today we're going to look at cycles. Cycles are groups of tests that you want to run repeatedly. For example, some regression or smoke tests. To add a cycle, you can click the button here within the Cycles tab to create a cycle. That will bring up the selector to add a name for your cycle and select the tests. However, if you have a whole load of tests, you might find it easier to use the Tests tab, use the filter. I'm going to use filter by label to find the tests that I want to add to my cycle. You can see here I have UI tests label, and these are all the tests that I want to add to my cycle. I can use Command A to select them all, or Control A, and then add to cycle. I can choose an existing cycle or create a new one. UI tests, create. So here's my cycle. The tests that I have added. If I want to, I can turn off the filter that shows those tests in cycle. It's quite useful for adding another test that I may wish to add, and you can do that from directly within the cycle just by adding to the cycle there. Turn on the filter again, and I can either click it or I can just click escape to deselect. So this is my cycle. I have the overview where I can select a purpose, for example, UI. I can add some labels. I can assign it to somebody. Retain runs is a disk space saving feature. The custom properties here, you can add your own to a cycle by using the customization feature in the settings. Your test list, which we've seen already, and then the runs and defects. So if I want to add my UI tests, if I want to add these tests to a run, so I'm going to send them to a test run, which basically puts them in executable mode. I can link it to a milestone, and if I wanted to, I can overwrite that disk saving feature. But it's not enabled at the moment, so I'm going to leave that. So here's my test run. I have my tests overview here. My tests in the test run are now pending. And if I open a test here, I can go through the steps and pass or fail. You can see here that this particular test has actually been included in a number of other runs, and it doesn't have any defects logged against it. Okay, so let's go back to the cycle. Another thing you can do with a cycle is you can add configuration. So let's add a couple of configurations here, maybe Windows 8, okay, and then another one, OS X, and we'll add that to the cycle. So now I have two configurations connected to this cycle. Let's run the cycle again. I can enable and disable them from here. Create the run. And so now when I open that same test, I now have two configurations for my testing. If I wanted to, I can fail the entire test, or I can do it individually on each step. And you can also log a defect. I'm going to log an existing defect, so I'm just going to link it. So now for this particular test, in this run, I've added a defect. So when I go back to the cycle, under the runs and defects, you can see that we've created two runs from this cycle. We failed one test, and we have one defect logged against it, and the defect is listed here. So there's your overview of the cycle, your test list, and the connected runs and defects. I hope you enjoy creating cycles for your tests. Thank you very much for watching.